Welcome back to Cask and Point. Today is day 6 of our New Era Bourbon Club Advent Calendar, where from December 1st through December 25th, we're going to try one fun, funky, mysterious sample. We're going to give tasting notes, we're going to rate them, and throughout it, we're going to try to guess what we're actually drinking, and then at the end of the video, we'll find out what we had. So, let's get into day number 6. On the nose here, this smells like a bourbon, with a lot of rye content in it. Definitely getting some rye spice on this, some pepper. There's some caramel on there, a little bit of oak. Not super fruity, so this actually might be a rye and not even a bourbon. But on the nose, a little bit hard to tell. If anything, this could be a barely legal rye, but this could also just be a high rye bourbon. Let's take a sip. Interesting. It's pretty flat on the palate there. The proof is looking like 90-ish right now. It's not super complex. I'm getting a little bit of like a sugarcane sweet rye candy note on there. I'm getting a little bit of oak, a little bit of caramel. And there is a little bit of nice chocolatiness too, which is really throwing me off because that would typically come from the malt content in this. And so if we're getting a good amount of rye and malt, I mean, we could be drinking a 95.5, which would be a 95% rye, 5% malted barley, but it just doesn't taste enough rye to have 95. Let's take a second sip here. Okay, on that sip, I got a lot more fruit. Okay, now I'm thinking we're much more in the classic bourbon flavor profile, but there is some chocolatiness on this that I do really like, but there is some of that cherry, that plum. It's a good pour. I'm trying to think of the distilleries that this could be. It could be Barton. I don't think this is Wild Turkey. I don't think there's enough of that kind of turkey funk, with the oak there, and I just don't think there's enough medicinal cherry, and I never really get any chocolatey notes on Wild Turkey. I don't think this is Buffalo Trace. I'm trying to think of all the things from Buffalo Trace. This isn't a wheated bourbon, so this isn't going to be any of the Wellers. This isn't going to be like a Buffalo Trace or a Stag or anything. No, this is going to be something funky, and I'm trying to think of anything that I've had. Odds are I haven't even heard of what we're trying, but it's also possible this is a totally normal thing. We'll take a third sip here, we'll give it a rating, but right now I'm thinking this is a Kentucky bourbon, I'm thinking this is a high rye bourbon, but beyond that, it's a little bit hard to tell. It could be Barton Juice, it could be like a 1792, but it just doesn't have the proof to say be foolproof on that, but it also doesn't really taste like the Bottled and Bond or anything that I've had before. Let's take a third sip. Okay, there's a little more proof on this than I think I initially said. But there's a lot of chocolatiness on here, which is throwing me off because I don't typically get chocolate notes on pretty much anything. But I'm thinking this is a Kentucky bourbon. I'm thinking this is somewhere in the 105 proof. I've guessed a lot of around 105 proof. Maybe everything just like 105 proof to me. But it tasted a little bit flat, which is why if this is like 98, I'm not going to be surprised. But I would be pretty surprised if this is above 115. I can't really put my finger on the distillery for this one, but I think this is a pretty classic Kentucky bourbon, and I want to guess it's, oh man, I don't think it's Buffalo Trace, I don't think it's Wild Turkey. What other distilleries are there? I don't think it's Heaven Hill. It could be Heaven Hill, but I don't know what from Heaven Hill this would be. I'm going to just say 105 proof bourbon from Kentucky, and I'd say the price is probably 60, 70 bucks is what I pay for this. I would rate this as 7.4. It's good. It's solid. I quite like it, really, but it is a little bit flat, which is why it's not going to get in that 8 range. Let's find out what we're drinking. Grab my laptop here, and again, I'll put on your screen what I'm actually looking at, but let's check out the images here and find out what we're having. Blood Oath. Huh. Okay. So, I've never had Blood Oath before. Oh, it's Pact 6, actually, from 2020. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I imagine this is a finished whiskey. Definitely understandable. Finished in, what does this say? In cognac barrels. Huh. Wow. I didn't get a ton of the, grapey cognac flavors on there, but I believe it. Definitely a funky finish on here. The Blood Oath attests. Super interesting. Wow. I've never had Blood Oath anything. but this is Lux Row, so yeah, definitely Kentucky. And I'm looking at the notes here, and it says cognac finished flight is why this is in the flight. Now, we did have a cognac finish already, so it's possible we're going to have like 3 or 4 cognac finishes now, and I'm thinking maybe day 7 is also a cognac finish, and we were supposed to do them all at once, but we didn't do that. But anyways, pretty good. That's Blood Oath Pact 6 for you. Did not predict that, but it's quite good, and I'm going to have to start rethinking these cognac finishes because I'm not getting a ton of cognac on there, and maybe it's just because I didn't know it was a cognac finish, so I'm not thinking about cognac, but I got a lot of nice chocolatey on there. It's pretty good, but it is lower proof, and this is probably, what, 90-something proof? Let's see if we can find out on the bottle here, but I'm assuming this is like 98 or something like that. Blood Oath Pact 6 proof. Yeah, I can't zoom into the photo. Yeah, 98.6. Okay, totally understandable. Yeah, pretty much what I predicted there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in day 7.